If Rodri joins Barcelona, the La Liga title race might be over before it even begins.
Top-class player. Defensively, offensively, the composer.
If Rodri lands Barcelona, Real Madrid does not need to get ready. The world needs to get ready.
And no, that's not an exaggeration. Barcelona already have one of the most talented young midfields in world football. Pedri, Gavi, Dani Olmo, Fermín López, Marc Bernal. Now imagine adding the best defensive midfielder on the planet to that group.
Lamine Yamal very much gets himself a service provider.
This isn't just another superstar transfer. It's Barcelona removing the last weakness from a team that's already dominating Spain. But here's the twist. Real Madrid had the chance to sign him first. Instead, days of hesitation may have handed their biggest rivals the one player capable of changing the balance of power for years.
Barcelona steps in and goes, whoa, watch this, bro. We're going to take Rodri from you because now Rodri prefers to play for us.
By the end of this video, you'll understand why Rodri isn't just another signing. He's the player who could completely break La Liga. Here's the part people keep getting wrong. Barcelona don't need Rodri to survive.
What Rodri adds to Barcelona, aerial solidarity, more positional, strength and structure. But in terms of distribution and tempo, Barcelona already have that profile in abundance.
They were already good enough to win La Liga without him. And that's what makes this whole situation scarier for everyone else. This isn't a team patching a hole, it's a team about to become unbeatable. And there's a real difference between the two. Look at what's already sitting in that midfield. Pedri controls games with his passing and his movement between lines. Dani Olmo adds another layer of creativity, direct attacking power, and can operate in multiple spots. Gavi brings energy, duels, and a refusal to lose the ball in tight spaces. Fermín López is famous for his high-intensity pressing, late runs into the box from deep, and powerful long-range shots. Marc Bernal is coming through as a longer-term piece, still young but already showing the calm that top midfielders need. That's 5 players with real quality. And Barcelona still had one gap nobody else could fill. That gap is a true anchor, someone who sits in front of the back four, controls the tempo of the whole match, and protects the defense when the pressing structure breaks down for a second. Pedri can dictate play, but he's not built to shield a backline under sustained pressure. Gavi fights for the ball, but he's not the guy reading danger 3 passes before it happens. That's a specific skill, and very few players in the world have it at the level Rodri does. Rodri's game isn't flashy, and that's exactly the point. He completes progressive passes even when 2 players are closing him down. He reads where the next attack is coming from before the opponent even commits to it. He controls how fast or slow a match moves, which sounds simple until you watch a team without that skill lose control of a game in 10 minutes. Barcelona have had moments like that, especially in Europe where their high defensive line gets stretched and suddenly there's space behind the back four that nobody's covering. That's the exact weakness Rodri fixes.
What he brings is organization back there and the ability to cover when a defender makes a mistake. And when Konde's out of position, when Kubasi pushes up a little bit too high, Rodri will take care of that.
He sits in the space in front of the defenders, cuts off the passing lanes before they open, and gives the backline cover so they can keep pushing up without getting exposed every time the ball gets turned over. This isn't Barcelona adding a good player to a good team, it's Barcelona removing the one structural flaw that's kept them from being untouchable. And once that flaw is gone, there's nothing left for opponents to target.
The one issue where I feel Barcelona have issues defensively, a lot of that is going to be offset by Rodri's introduction to the team, who makes any team much more organized.
Here's where it gets strange if you actually think about it. Rodri spent years being linked to Real Madrid, the club he grew up admiring, the club that seemed like his obvious destination.
I was kind of surprised that every week he just came out in podcasts and interviews and said Real Madrid is the biggest club, Real Madrid is the greatest club, who doesn't want to play for Real Madrid?
So why does a player who's been chasing that move for so long suddenly lean toward Barcelona instead, their biggest rival? Start with Spain. Rodri would be walking into a Barcelona dressing room that already has several of his World Cup winning teammates inside it.
We understand that Rodri likes the way that Barcelona play, has got some really good friends in that Barcelona dressing room from the Spain squad.
That's not a small detail. When a player already knows how his teammates move, talk, and think on the pitch, the adjustment period practically disappears. Chemistry doesn't need to be built from scratch, it's already there, waiting for him, and that speeds up everything compared to walking into a brand new project where trust has to be earned game by game.
He would work in any team in the world, mate. He would genuinely work with his national Spanish teammates in the midfield. He's already played with them, he knows how they play, and it makes sense.
Then there's the system. Hansi Flick runs a team built on possession, high pressing, and positional control, the exact style Rodri learned under Pep Guardiola at Manchester City. It's not a new language he has to learn, it's the same football, different jersey. Real Madrid, by contrast, plays with more transition and individual improvisation, which is a harder adjustment for someone whose whole career is built on structure and control.
Truth is, Rodri never wanted Real Madrid. He never saw himself fitting into the team, and he never really wanted to join the club.
Now, the fit isn't perfect on paper. Rodri and Pedri didn't always click for Spain, and there were stretches at the World Cup where the two of them playing together actually slowed things down instead of speeding them up. But Barcelona has more tools around that pairing, more rotation options, and a couch already used to solving that exact puzzle.
Would Pedri and Rodri work together? Maybe in Barcelona it will, but in Spain national team it didn't. Maybe in Barcelona it will, right?
Madrid doesn't have that same depth to work around a similar problem. And then, Real Madrid's hesitation did the rest of the work. Delayed talks, mixed signals from the top of the club, other transfer priorities taking over the conversation.
I think it's Rodri being convinced by Barcelona's proposal and not being convinced that Real Madrid were really serious or committed to signing him. Our understanding is that Rodri's camp felt like Real Madrid were dragging their feet.
When a player senses that kind of hesitation, it doesn't read as patience. It reads as a lack of real commitment. And that's exactly what pushed Rodri toward a club that acted with certainty. With the fit this clean and the commitment this one-sided, the real story stops being about Rodri at all. It becomes about what this does to everyone else in Spain. So, what does a Barcelona midfield with zero weaknesses actually do to a title race? It doesn't just win games, it ends them before they start. And that's the part everyone chasing Barcelona should be worried about. Right now, Barcelona control matches. With Rodri, that control stretches across an entire season.
The adaptation period would be smoother at a club like Barca, where it is in their DNA to always dominate on the ball.
A team that can dictate tempo for 90 minutes is dangerous. A team that can dictate tempo for 38 games straight is something else entirely. That's what an anchor like Rodri does. He doesn't just win individual battles in midfield, he removes the bad patches, the 5-minute collapses, the moments where a team loses its shape and drops points it shouldn't. Take that away from every rival and the gap stops being a gap. It becomes distance nobody can close, and that includes Madrid. Since Kroos and Modrić left, Real Madrid have gone through name after name, trying to find someone who controls a midfield the way these two did together.
The midfield's got some major issues. It still hasn't really recovered, in my honest opinion, from Toni Kroos and Luka Modrić, of course, leaving and getting older.
Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Valverde in different roles, different combinations, still searching for that same grip on a match. None of it has replaced what walked out the door. Missing out on Rodri doesn't fix that stretch, it exposes it.
This, Dani and the 6 players doesn't fix what we lack. They're not gonna fix our weaknesses. This is going to fix our weakness.
Because now Madrid isn't just short of a controller, they're short of a controller while staring across the table at a rival who just solved that exact problem. Every time Barcelona dominate the ball in a Clásico, every time their midfield strangles a game before it opens up, Madrid's own gaps get highlighted in the worst possible way, on the biggest stage, in the game that matters most.
Valverde, Tchouaméni, and Jude Bellingham are going to be chasing ghosts, bro. They are not going to get a look at the ball, a smell of the ball. This is the worst possible outcome for Real Madrid.
Now zoom out past Madrid. The rest of La Liga was already struggling to keep up with Barcelona's depth. Sides like Atletico Madrid or Athletic Club can compete for stretches. They can win a big game here or there, but they don't have 4 or 5 players at Barcelona's level. filling one midfield. Add Rodri and Barcelona stops having an obvious point of attack. There's no pressing trigger anymore. There's no space to exploit in transition because the exact player built to close that space is standing right there. This signing doesn't just strengthen Barcelona, it removes the last realistic opening anyone had to catch them. This was supposed to be Madrid's signing. Weeks of talks, a player who grew up wanting that badge, a hole in midfield that's been open since Modrić walked away. All of it pointed toward the Bernabeu. Instead, Barcelona ends up with the one player who fixes what was already the best team in Spain.
You're getting the experience of Rodri into a midfield that I truly believe is already one of the best in the world. I believe if you get Rodri, you are the best in the world.
Not a patch, not a rotation option. The exact piece that turns a very good midfield into one without a single obvious flaw. And that's the real consequence here. La Liga was already tilted toward Barcelona before any of this started. Now there's no midfield fight left to have, no path back for Madrid, no room for anyone else to sneak through. The lead had a check on Barcelona's power once. After this, it doesn't.
But Barcelona sign it. I can't see anything but Barcelona winning the league again.